All right, let's dive in today and explore some pretty wild ideas about the future.
Wild is right.
Yeah, we're looking specifically at like the 2025 to 2030 time frame.
Okay.
And all this is coming from a recent Clif High YouTube video.
Yeah, always interesting.
Oh, absolutely. He's got it jam-packed with predictions. I mean, it's like straight out of science fiction. You know, we're talking like corporate espionage, government secrets, even like a whole religious revolution.
Hmm.
And get this, it's all powered by something he calls psychic technology.
Psychic technology.
Yeah, or Psytech for short.
Okay. I mean, that's a catchy name.
It is, it is.
But what's interesting is that Clif High really connects these predictions to like a larger shift in, in how we even understand reality itself. Like he's saying we're on the edge of a major paradigm shift.
Okay.
Moving away from just this materialist worldview
Okay.
to one that acknowledges the power of consciousness
Yeah.
and these, what some might call psychic phenomena.
Right, right. Okay, so let's break down this Psytech thing. What exactly is psychic technology? Like, how's it supposed to work?
Well, Cliff High, he uses a pretty cool analogy. Imagine, right, everyone navigating with sticks because they don't even realize they have the ability to see.
Okay.
And then suddenly it's like, boom, they discover they can open their eyes and perceive this like whole new level of reality. And Psytech, he's basically saying it's like opening our minds
Okay.
to a new sense, a way of perceiving information and understanding the world that goes beyond, our typical five senses.
So it's not about developing, like, superpowers or anything.
Right, exactly.
Telekinesis or mind reading. It's more about this deeper level of perception that we all, potentially have.
Exactly. He argues that everyone, right, everyone has this hidden potential, this ability to tap into what he calls the event stream.
Okay.
It's like this constantly unfolding tapestry of events
Right.
that includes, get this, both the past and the future.
Hold on. The future is in this event stream. So are we talking about, like, precognition?
Yeah.
Being able to see future events?
It's not quite that straightforward. It's not like, a linear timeline like we normally think of it. It's more multi-dimensional,
Okay.
a field of possibilities where past, present, and future are all kind of interconnected. And he's suggesting that with Psytech, you can actually access information from this event stream
Okay.
to understand past events like in detail.
Right.
And maybe even get glimpses of potential futures.
Okay, so let's just say, hypothetically, this Psytech thing is the real deal.
Okay.
Wouldn't governments and corporations be all over it, trying to, I don't know, weaponize it or something?
That's exactly what Clif High suggests.
Really?
That there's this hidden Psytech arms race going on as we speak.
Wow.
And they're actively looking for individuals with, serious psychic potential.
That sounds like some spy movie stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, how do they even find these people? Are they, like, putting out ads like psychics wanted?
Oh, it's way more subtle than that. They're looking at specific personality types.
Okay.
Maybe even analyzing like genetic lineages, right? Trying to find those who might be predisposed to these abilities. Just imagine a world where your psychic resume matters more than your college degree.
That's both fascinating and, I gotta say, kind of creepy.
Right.
But if governments and corporations are already, in on this, does that mean this Psytech is being used right now in the real world?
Clif High, he actually points to a couple examples. One of them being, Dick Olgi, remember him?
Oh, yeah.
Leads that future forecasting group.
Right.
I think we even did a deep dive on his work a while back. Yeah, we did.
Gathering info about events before they happen, right?
Exactly. And Clif High is suggesting that Oljar's group,
Okay.
they're actually utilizing Psytech to access that event stream and pull out data about those potential future outcomes.
Okay, so let's say, for argument's sake, Psytech is real and it's being used in these ways. What are the bigger implications? I know Clif High mentioned something about religion too, right?
Oh, he's arguing that the emergence of Psytech is going to lead to a massive shift in, the religious landscape. He predicts like a resurgence of Christianity.
Okay.
But here's the twist, a new form
Okay.
that embraces Psytech and what he called ontological paradigm.
Ontological paradigm.
Yeah, it's a way of thinking about the universe that accepts like psychic phenomena as totally natural, not supernatural. So imagine a world where like science and religion actually converge.
Wow.
And psychic abilities are as normal as like using a smartphone.
That would be pretty radical.
Right.
But if Psytech, if it really does become this widespread, it's easy to see how it could like impact everything, right? From the way we work
Oh, absolutely.
to even like our spiritual beliefs.
Exactly. That's the whole point Clif High seems to be making. We're on the cusp of this like fundamental shift in human consciousness.
Okay.
And that shift is going to be driven in part by the emergence of Psytech.
So we've got like a potential Psytech arms race, a whole changing religious landscape, and now the rise of a psychic workforce. This is a lot.
It is.
But if Psytech is operating at, a level close to consciousness, does that mean it has something to do with those ideas about tapping into zero-point energy we hear about?
And that is where we're going to pick up in part 2 of this deep dive.
Okay.
Get ready to explore the mind-bending connection between Psytech and the most fundamental energy field in the universe. It's going to be a wild ride.
Sounds good. I'm ready for it.
Back again, ready for more Psytech.
I'm ready. But, before we jump into this zero-point energy thing,
Okay.
it just hit me that if this whole psychic resume thing actually happens,
Yeah.
it's going to totally change, like, the entire job market.
Oh, it's a huge idea, no doubt. Clif High, he's adjusting that as AI and automation, get even more advanced.
Right.
The skills that'll really matter, the valuable ones, are going to be those uniquely human skills, the ones machines can't just copy.
And he thinks Psytech, these psychic abilities, are going to be like one of those key human skills.
Exactly. He's picturing a future where people are hired for their Psytech abilities.
Yeah.
How well they can perceive information and make decisions based on insights from, that event stream we talked about.
So like intuition and insight are going to be the hot new skills?
Exactly.
Wow. But how would you even test for that? Would there be like a psychic aptitude test or something?
Hard to say what it looked like, but it's not totally crazy.
Right.
We already have tests for creativity, emotional intelligence, stuff that's tough to measure.
Yeah.
So imagining a Psytech potential test isn't that big of a leap.
Okay, but let's play devil's advocate for a sec.
Okay.
Isn't there like a huge potential for abuse with this tech? I mean, if people can really tap into the event stream,
Right.
see the past, maybe even glimpses of the future, what about privacy?
Right.
What about manipulation?
Those are big concerns, for sure. And Clif High, he doesn't ignore them.
Okay.
He actually says that governments and corporations are already grappling with the ethics and the security risks of Psytech. Think about it. If someone can use Psytech to, get confidential info, or
Right.
even predict what someone's going to do,
Right.
the potential for misuse is huge.
So no more secrets. That's the future. A world with no privacy.
It's a possibility Clif High brings up, and it's worth thinking about, for sure.
Yeah.
If Psytech gets as powerful and as common as he's saying,
Right.
it could completely change how we think about privacy, security, even personal freedom.
This is getting a bit heavy,
Yeah.
Maybe we should lighten things up a bit.
Okay.
Move on to that zero-point energy connection you mentioned earlier.
Okay, yeah.
Hopefully that's a little less, dystopian.
Well, it's definitely an area where science and Psytech seem to overlap.
Okay.
0-point energy. It's the energy that supposedly exists even in a perfect vacuum.
Right.
The lowest possible energy state.
Yeah, I remember that from physics class.
Right.
It always seemed super theoretical though.
Yeah.
Like only in equations, not real life.
True. Harnessing 0-point energy, it's been a tough one for physicists.
Yeah.
But more and more research is hinting that it might be possible. And here's the interesting part. Clif High sees a connection between 0-point energy and Psytech.
Okay, I'm listening. What's the connection? How do psychic abilities tie into this fundamental energy field?
Well, his theory, and it's just a theory right now,
Right.
is that Psytech operates at a level of reality that's really close to this 0-point field. He describes it as this underlying layer of reality connecting consciousness and matter.
Okay.
Where the line between mind and energy gets blurry.
So our minds, our consciousness could interact with this 0-point energy field.
That's what he's implying. And if we can learn to tap into it through Psytech, it could lead to breakthroughs we can't even imagine.
Like what? Teleportation, time travel, unlimited clean energy.
Who knows? But Clif High hints at a future where we're manipulating matter and energy with our minds, where the impossible becomes possible. Technology not limited by gadgets, but by our thoughts.
Okay, I'm starting to see why this Psytech thing is so captivating.
Right.
But if it's this powerful, why haven't we seen more proof?
Yeah.
Why all the secrecy?
Well, Clif High has a couple ideas about that.
Okay.
One, he says that knowledge of Psytech has been purposely suppressed by those in power, those who are afraid of, a tech that could shake things up.
A conspiracy theory. Some secret group controlling this power. Gotta admit, that's kind of tempting to believe.
It's a dramatic idea, for sure. But he also says it might just be timing,
Okay.
He thinks as we move further into this decade, Psytech is going to inevitably come out into the open. Driven by scientific discoveries, social change, and more people realizing their own potential.
This awakening of consciousness, it brings us back to that new religious paradigm, right? A
Exactly.
shift in how we see ourselves in the universe.
That's it. Clif High sees all these things as connected. He thinks as we unlock the secrets of Psytech and zero-point energy,
Right.
we're going to have to rethink our basic beliefs about reality, spirituality, human potential, the whole thing.
Hmm.
He even says that separation between science and religion, it might just dissolve as we understand how interconnected everything really is.
So it's not just new tech, it's a total transformation of how we understand who we are and what's possible.
Exactly. It's like a call to step into a future where limits disappear and reality is redefined. And it all comes down to this idea that our consciousness, our minds, are way more powerful than we've ever realized.
This is pretty mind-blowing stuff.
It is.
But before we go too far down the rabbit hole, I want to hear more about Clif High's actual predictions.
Okay.
What does he see happening in the next few years as Psytech gets bigger?
Great question. And that's exactly what we'll dig into in the last part of our deep dive. Stay tuned as we explore Clif High's vision of the future, a future shaped by Psytech and the awakening of human consciousness.
Welcome back for the final part of our Psytech deep dive. I gotta say, so far it's been pretty mind-blowing. From like a psychic arms race to maybe tapping into zero-point energy, it's a lot to process.
It really is, but I think what makes Cliff High's predictions so interesting is how he ties these big ideas to like a broader shift in how we think. He's saying this isn't just about new tech, it's about a change in how we see reality itself.
Yeah, he keeps mentioning that awakening of consciousness thing, like we're about to discover what our minds can really do, but what's that actually look like, practically? What specific changes does he predict as Psytech becomes more common?
Well, one of the most intriguing predictions is that Psytech will lead to the end of secrets, basically.
No more secrets, really.
Yeah, he says as more people develop these abilities, it'll be harder and harder to hide information, control the flow of knowledge.
So no more government cover-ups or corporate spies. Sounds pretty utopian, but is that even possible?
It's a big idea, for sure, but Cliff High thinks Psytech will make information way more accessible for everyone. With Psytech being widespread, truth becomes more transparent, harder to manipulate or deceive.
Interesting. So Psytech can, like, reveal the past, maybe show glimpses of the future, but what about the present? How does he see Psytech impacting our daily lives in the near future?
He says it'll be integrated into a lot of things, like healthcare. Imagine Psytech used to diagnose illnesses way more accurately, even personalized treatments based on your specific energy.
Okay.
He also sees it in education, personalizing learning, helping students reach their full potential, stuff like that.
That sounds amazing, but wouldn't it also be super disruptive? Imagine if everyone suddenly has access to this info, these abilities. Wouldn't it turn everything upside down?
Cliff High knows it won't be a smooth ride. He expects social and political shakeups as old power structures get challenged and new ways of organizing emerge. He even says the idea of nation-states, countries as we know them, might become obsolete as people connect and collaborate based on like shared values instead of location.
Wow. So we're not just talking tech revolution, but a social and political one, too.
Exactly. Cliff High sees Psytech as this catalyst for a huge shift in human consciousness, something that'll affect every part of our lives, individually and as a society.
This deep dive has really been thought-provoking. We've covered some seriously complex ideas, from the nuts and bolts of Psytech to what it could mean for, like, philosophy and society.
And what's fascinating is we're not talking about some distant future. Cliff High is saying these changes are already happening. The seeds of this Psytech revolution are being planted right now.
So where do we go from here? How do we prepare for this future, navigate this shift in consciousness he's talking about?
He stresses the importance of awareness, both of ourselves and what's happening around us, paying attention to our intuition, exploring our inner world, questioning what we think is possible.
It sounds like he's also saying we need to stay informed, keep learning about these ideas so we can help shape the future, make it something we actually want.
Absolutely. It's not about just waiting to see what happens. It's about actively participating, asking tough questions, and deciding what kind of future we want to build.
Well, I think we can all agree this deep dive has given us a lot to think about. I know I will be for a while.
Me too. And remember, this is just the start of the conversation. As Psytech keeps developing, we'll definitely have more questions to explore and more discoveries to make.
So to everyone listening, keep exploring, keep questioning, keep diving deep into the mysteries of the universe and the amazing potential within yourselves. Until next time, keep those minds open and stay curious.